For this video, you're going to need your blank piece of paper. It does work if you have a colored paper, but white is what you got for me this week. And you will need a small square paper. If you lost this or you don't have it, you could also just cut a square out of white paper and then either color it solid or pattern it with some markers. But you would need to pattern both sides. Otherwise, the paper it wouldn't contrast if you're gluing it on white paper. So again, that's why I gave you all a colored square and a white rectangle full paper. So I'm going to take you step by step through doing this exact one here, except in yellow. You're more than welcome to do different shapes. While NoTan, which is what this is called, it's called NoTan, is simple, it can also be a little tricky. So if you feel that the back and forth flipping of the positive and negative shapes is too confusing for you, you feel free to just copy what I'm going to do step by step here. If you are switching though, the process is still the same, except you'd be using your own shapes. So what you want to do to get started is you want to draw shapes into the side here that don't touch each other. So up here I did this. And you want to use pencil just because otherwise with that marker, you can see I used a marker on this one, and you can see my marker lines kind of stuck there on some of those other shapes. So if you use pencil, you'll be able to erase it. Okay. And one over now, over there, over. Some of the sizing may be a little different on this one, but it'll be all good. Up here, I did zigzags. Over here, I did this shape. Okay. So after you get that far, you are going to cut these out. Scissors. So the next step is to cut these shapes out. Now you want to cut them out in a way that you're going to have all of them. So you don't want to cut into it a little bit. You want to cut right on the lines because you want to save all of these shapes that you're cutting out. If something gets cut in half by accident, it's okay, you can glue it back together later, but you really, really want to be cutting right on the lines. So as I cut these out, I'm just going to put them aside next to me in a little pile because we will use them in the next step. So cut them all out. And I really would suggest, again, drawing shapes that easy to cut out. You're going to have a lot easier time than if you created like a super complex shape. And the last ones. Okay, so I have my cut piece and my little pile over here. I'm going to take this pile and I'm just going to carefully move it over. Again, you don't want it to be totally gone because you don't want to lose those pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your white paper, I'll put it down here, and you're going to glue this on like as a diamond here. Let's pull this down. So you don't want to have it going straight, or you're going to run out of space on the sides here to stick your shape down. So by gluing it on here, you will have plenty of space to glue on all of your shapes. So doesn't really matter which way you glue it down, just as long as it's in that diamond. So I'm going to add my glue. Doesn't really matter again which side you pick to glue it down on. You'll be able to alternate your shapes the same way. Alright, so I'm going to put mine like this. Again, in that diamond position. So that if you kind of had your paper, it would go like this, like a diamond. And you're going to gently press those down. Okay. Now, what you will do is you're now going to start working with your little shapes. So if you see here, 3 of the shapes I cut in again. So we have our full shape, and then I cut into it more here. This one I didn't cut, you just have that negative reflection, but you can see how this is just all white what was left. This has some purple here and purple here and purple here, because I also, after reflecting it this way, I reflected it back this way. So we're going to start over here because I didn't have any extra shapes in them. So if you have 1 layered flips like I do here, you're able to just take those shapes and you're going to reflect them. So how I like to figure out how to reflect them is I kind of put them back in like a puzzle. And then one by one, I flip them. So this one, you want that straight edge to match up right against there. And with this one, you want this straight edge to match up right there. This straight edge will match up here, and this straight edge will match up here. And once you have that, then you're free to pick them up and glue them down. And all of your shapes can be one layer of flip. It's totally fine. You can even, I'm only doing a maximum of 2. You could actually go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth as much as your shape will allow. And once you get the process, that's going to be easier to do. But again, I know it's a little abstract, some of these directions, so feel free to copy exactly as I do. Okay. Now with these pencil lines here at the end, if I wanted to kind of erase those, I'll be able to, which is if I had just used the marker, I wouldn't have been able to. So if I laid out these ones similar, now again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut shapes into these. But again, I just want to show you how it's a little different. So go ahead, you can kind of lay those down and leave them there for a minute because I just want to show you so how I kind of flipped my object this time. But so this shape here doesn't just look like a cloud. It has more cuts flipped back into it, so we need to draw all those. We need to draw the one for this one and the one for this one. All right, so again, if you did not, what you'll do is you will kind of match these shapes up and go ahead and flip them. Just like that. And then you will draw in your next level. just kind of leaving them right there so you know that they will go back where they belong. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my next level on that one. I'm going to draw my next level on this one. And I'm going to draw my next level on this one. Okay. And so what you'll then do is you can either do one at a time, which I'm going to do because I find it's easier and less confusing, or you can go ahead and cut all those lines, but I'm going to do it shape by shape, and I'll show you why. So on the line, and again, you want to keep everything, so you want to keep all of this. And on my last one, I'm going to make a cutting mistake on purpose, just so you can see if you have that happen to you, how to solve that. Okay, so again, keeping these two kind of together like a puzzle piece. This one is going to stay, and then this one is going to get reflected again. So you see how I had it in here, and then what I did is I picked it up, reflected it by turning it over, right, just like that. And then you'll kind of see how it matches up to those positive and negative shapes. All right, and so I will glue that down. I always find it's helpful to glue the outer layers first, because then you can match up the inner layers a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line up those, so it should kind of match straight edge all the way down. Straight edge all the way down. And then over here, also, falling down on the glue stick. Under here, and then I'm going to match this straight edge up to this straight edge. And then you can kind of see how this shape is reflected here, and this shape is reflected back here. Okay, and so we'll do the same thing over here. I'm going to cut those shapes out. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to, so it was in like this, reflects back like that. And this one was in like this, so it reflects the other way. And same with this one, it was here, so it reflects here. And again, I'm going to start with the outside, because once that's glued down, gluing the other stuff is going to be way easier. Okay, so stick this one down. This one down. And I will stick this one down. Alrighty, so I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to start it again in the second video, just in case you just want to see what to do if you make a mistake.